And so you all know we are streaming live on all platforms. If you are able, we appreciate your visual and your video cameras on. It will help us to connect and engage. 2024 is a year of collaboration, and we are excited to talk about the opportunity for partnerships globally, collaboration. And we will be getting started. At the next time, I will be introducing the amazing and honorable Patience Ididi Key. He is the CEO of the Nigeria and the Diaspora Chamber of Commerce. We are excited to be before you today, and we welcome you. I would like to introduce to some and present to others, Patience Ididi Key. Welcome. It's on mute, my dear sister. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Ms. Ngozi. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for taking our time to moderate for us today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever we're joining from. And Happy New Year. It's 2024. We're all excited. I'm so excited about this new year, 2024, and I hope we are all excited also about the year and all the goals that we have set, and all the things, the strategies we're going to put together to help to achieve our goals individually, in our different businesses, and also as a chamber. Thank you so much for taking our time to join us this day, the 6th of January, in this new year, 2024. Yeah, this is the Nigerians in Diaspora Chamber of Commerce, a business community of professionals from all walks of life. This is not just a Nigerian thing. The Nigerians in Diaspora Chamber of Commerce is a global organization, full of all participants from Nigeria, United States, Europe, China, wherever you're from. It's a global organization for you, to promote your business, to connect you to your likes, to matchmake with the investors. That's wherever you want to invest in the kind of business that you do. That is why we're here, to help you to grow better, to grow faster, to add to the growth that you've already achieved. I'll be talking a little about 2023 was a beautiful year for us. The chamber been registered for a while, but in 2023, we started off meeting virtually, talking about who we are. From June, we made several quarters. The first quarter, we started with the title "Connecting the Dots Through Service," because Chamber of Commerce is, all we do is come here to connect people, connect businesses, networking and all that. But our chamber is not just about membership only. We are also here to do projects and so many other things that we've talked about over the past years. Has been a great value, has added great value to our membership, to those who have participated and those who have visited our social media and also reached out to us to ask questions about what we're doing. So we started in the month of June, which was the second quarter of 2023. Our first virtual event was on I think June 2nd, and the theme was connecting the dots through service. We had speakers like Mr. Lawrence Freeman, Dr. Oye Owolewa, and so many others. We had success. Of course, the metrics was high. We had attendees from UK, from Europe, from North America, from Nigeria, from other parts of Africa. The second event was on June 28th. Now we had another theme, which was connecting the dots, making inroads with the chambers. The focus was to engage and support strategies for business successes. Enhance understanding of NIDCC to enhance the understanding of NiDCC role in business advancement and the community that we support, which is all communities. As far as we have you on board, we're ready to diversify, to expand to the different communities nationally. Then on the third quarter, we continued and we talked about, the theme was connecting the dots through service, but right now we went to effects of government policies on businesses, because we know that, whatever business, or even as individuals, and also in our businesses, the policies that different governments makes, the strategies that they put together, the plans, that they come about, will affect our businesses, affect our lives, affect our daily, in and out. So we decided to talk about the effect of government businesses, on government policies on businesses, the challenges, and also the solutions. On that, wow. So insightful dialogue on how community policy shape our businesses. Then the fourth one was August 5th, which same quarter, we continued on the same government policies impact on businesses. We've had Ambassador Nkoyo Toyo, we had Senator Tonya Anderson, we had Senator Shehu Sani, and so many others who were there to, do justice to these teams. And one of the one of the things we achieved was, to get it, we promoted the deeper understanding of policy impacts with a focus on Nigeria, Africa, and the developing world, America, and Canada, and all. Then in September, which was also the third quarter, we continued with the same topic, government policies, how government import policies impact our businesses. That very event, we also had Ambassador Toyo come back. Mr. Dwight from Bahamas was with us. Honorable Jermaine Sanwo-Olu, the diaspora assistant special advisor to the governor of Lagos State. And our keynote speaker for that day was Dr. Sam Adeyemi, was a big part of that event. At that event, we broadened the perspective on policy and business, enhancing the decision-making of those. That's where. Then on the fourth quarter, which was September, we also continue to connect the dots. And now we had a topic navigating the impact of rising coal on global businesses. At that very event, we had only Her Excellency Dr. Arikana Chimborokwo, who was with us for hours, dissecting a lot of things and made us to understand that this is not just a coup, it is a revolution, and admonished us several times that the world is waiting for Nigeria, Africa is waiting for Nigeria, and the world in particular is waiting for Nigeria to take its place, its greatness, its relevance, so that others will actually, begin to flourish like we have been designed to do. And why do we hammer this on Nigeria? And for those who know, Dr. Arikana is not a Nigerian. Yes, she's from Africa. She's actually from Zimbabwe. But even blessed memory, Nelson Mandela had said it, that, the world is waiting for Nigeria to take its place, and others will follow suit. Like we all know, Nigeria is the most populous Black nation in the world, the most populous country also in Africa. And guess what? Is the sixth most populous country in the world. And according to research, in 2050, Nigeria may become the third most populous country in the world. So you can see the significance, the strategy position, the location that our great nation Nigeria is. And Nigeria has been there for all countries, have supported a lot of, despite the odds, despite the challenges, Nigeria has supported a lot of African countries and developed countries, and still supporting despite where we are. So, and what we are looking for now as developed, to bridge the gap between the developing and the developed country, what we are looking for is mutual benefits, mutual interaction, mutual, a blessing for all countries. And by so doing, definitely we'll see that, the issue with insecurity, the issue with all the chaoses we see in the world will begin to reduce when we begin to think well of one another. So at that very event on September 23rd, 2023, which was the fourth quarter, Her Excellency Dr. Arikana, did a lot of justice, and all these things are streamed on our social media, and that's why we keep, asking that you follow our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even the Twitter. We're working on it. We don't know why it's been down for a while, but the LinkedIn, the Facebook, and Instagram is up and alive. So you join us, follow us, so you can listen to all this wonderful information that have been given by, that we have gotten from our wonderful keynote speakers and panelists since June of 2023. The same quarter, November 11th, which was the last quarter, the first quarter, we also continue to connect the dots and continue with the same topic, navigating lucrative sectors. No, we had a new topic, navigating lucrative sectors in the global economy. We had Mr. Bobby Hunter. We had Honorable Shade Adepeju Joseph. We had Shade was representing the Nigerian government from the Senate, and we had Mr. Nenad Dodovic also at that's virtual events. Well, here they highlighted the emerging sectors and strategies of global businesses. December 2nd, we continued with the same navigating lucrative sectors, where we brought in Dr. Collins Nweke. We had engineer Dr. Atinuke Owolabi. We had Mr. Mohammed Bar. December 16th, which was our last event for last year. We continued with the same lucrative sectors, which was the last, and we had our keynote speaker, Professor Pat Utomi. We had our other panelists, Dame Muni Ironi from the Beverly Hills. We had His Royal Majesty Dr. Chukwudi Judy Henetu, and there, of course, one of the things we achieved was having an in-depth exploration of economic sectors, providing actionable insights for the members. So this was all that we had. This will be sent to our emails, before the end of this month, so we can have a more view and get to know what we did last quarter and how we wish, the future, the projection for us for this quarter. Overall, as I wrote here, I said diversity and caliber. Speakers, a range of speakers from government officials to industry experts, provided multifaceted perspectives, enriching the discourse and value offered to our members. The global reach for us, each event successfully connected members from various continents. Like I said, this is a global organization. Here we enhanced the NiDCC's global footprints and networking capabilities, service-centric approach. Here we emphasize services as a core value resonating well with the audience, aligning the business goals with community impacts. And what do we have for 2024? 2024, our recommendation is that we're going to be looking at enhancing member engagement. We'll be focused on entrepreneurial support, like we've always done. We'll focus on that. We'll focus on expanding research and marketing insights. We'll be focused on sustainable development goals in all our sectors. Of course, Nigerians in Diaspora Chamber of Commerce has made significant strides so far in connecting and empowering the global Nigerian business community. Our events of 2023 have successfully positioned us as a leader in fostering insightful discourse and practical solutions. As we move into this new year, 2024, our focus will be on leveraging these successes to create even more value for our members and the broader community. And in the first quarter of this year, 2024, come March 28, 29, and 30th, the chamber will be having its grand launch in Nigeria, Lagos to be precise, Lagos State to be precise, at Lekki Colosseum. For us to have a grand launch. Well, more will be discussed with us, but I just wanted to share that. And thank you. That's all I will have to say so that we can continue with our wonderful panelists and discussants today as we delve into the topic of the day. Working collaboration. This is a new year, 2024. It's going to be collaboration between government and people, collaboration between industries, employers and employees, even families, collaboration between parents and children. Collaboration is key. There's just so much we can do when we work together, when we collaborate, when we partner, bearing in mind, the benefits for one another, for each other, for our corporations and all that. And that's what we'll be looking at today, how we can collaborate and bring in, and how collaboration can bring in sustainability. So thank you for your time again. Thank you. And we wish everyone a wonderful new year. We wish everyone a glorious and a beautiful 2024. I personally am very excited about this year, and I hope that everyone is excited. And before we leave this meeting, the excitement from us will rub off on every one of us. And yeah, wish us well. And I will hand over to our moderator, Ms. Ngozi Dike. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and thank you for coming. Again, Happy New Year. Enjoy your time with us.
Thank you. It sounds like the chamber has been busy uplifting the community with your mission.
Is it clean?
Yeah, please, if you're not talking, can you just please help us to mute, please?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. That was a great summary of what the Nigerian and the Diaspora Chamber of Commerce have been doing and what we're looking forward to do. Now, as we go on to present our panelists, please be reminded that each speaker will speak for 10 minutes. After each speaker speaks for 10 minutes, we will then allow each panelist to recap for 3 minutes, and then we will engage in question and answer. So I ask for your forgiveness right now to our dear panelists. I will do my best to pronounce each name accurately. If I do not, please pardon me in advance. And I'm going to start here today. I'm going to introduce Mr. Lawrence Freeman. He is the political economist analyst for Africa. And we invite you here today and we welcome you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving us your time today. We're very excited to hear your thoughts on the global trends and sustainable business partnerships for 2024. As Honorable Patience Key stated, it's all about collaboration, sustainable collaborations, and galvanizing teams and leaders and alliances so that we can achieve the helping Nigeria get into its place. What are your thoughts on today's topic? You have 10 minutes and we are all ears. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. If we're going to have a good year, a good 2024, then we have to dedicate ourselves to working to create a good year. My philosophy throughout my over 50 years of political activity is you work in the present to create a better future. Now, most of the world is correctly focused some attention on the two military conflicts we have, and from my stand, both of which are unnecessary and could have been avoided. But the other elements that people are overlooking is a potential new global dynamic. As of January 1st, which was Monday, the BRICS organization, the organization of Russia, China, India, Brazil, was joined by, and South Africa, was joined by 5 additional nations. So now the BRIC nations represent a block of 10. And 2 of the 5 additional nations that joined the BRICS are from Africa, Egypt and Ethiopia, which is also significant because Ethiopia not only is the largest economy in Eastern Africa, but is third in economic output to number 2, South Africa, and number 1, Nigeria. Ethiopia is also the second largest populated nation in Africa, and Egypt is the third. So now Africa is represented by South Africa, Ethiopia, and Egypt in the BRICS. And this actually changes potentially all political financial dynamics in the world. Because what we're watching, what we're seeing is a growing bloc, an expanding bloc of nations that are outside of the immediate domination of what I would call the Western geopolitical ideologues who believe in the zero-sum game of always maintaining their top position and keeping everybody else underneath. More and more nations are breaking away from the Western political institutions and Western financial institutions. This is not a complete break, but if you look at what the BRICS can do, they have their own development bank, which is small compared to the World Bank, but it's significant in that it lends money for development. And the whole paradigm, the whole outlook of the BRICS nations is development. That's not the outlook of the Western world. The Western world is still dominated by financial predatory ambitions, but the BRICS is oriented towards development. So now the African continent is very much tied to the potential of the BRICS. And this also means more countries are trading in local currencies instead of dominated by the dollar or the euro Western currencies. I say this as a potential because we've got to expand it and make it work. There are reports that 30 or more other nations in the world want to join the BRICS. So this is a dynamic of change. Now, if we look at the African continent, really, the African continent is going to be the major force of change politically and economically in the world in this century, because the population is projected to rise to 2.5 billion by 2050. As was mentioned, Nigeria's population is expected to rise over 400 million, which would make it the third largest country in the world in the future, behind India, number 1, and China, number 2. Now, we have to look, what do we have to do on the continent of Africa? We have to fight for manufacturing, value-added industrialization. We have to stop spending almost $40 billion importing agricultural goods when Africa, and I've traveled over many parts of it, not all of it, is perfectly capable of meeting its own food requirements. We have to build a manufacturing sector so that the African nations' economies are not forced to purchase their goods on the international market at rigged prices, but can produce necessary products themselves. Agricultural processing instead of selling the raw materials, such as we're seeing in many parts of Africa. Manufacturing, industrialization, economic integration, so that more of the trade goes on between African nations and not manipulated at artificial manipulation at global prices outside of Africa. One of the things I'm involved in recent years up till today is to try to promote economic integration in the Horn of Africa. And I have many comments on that, which you can read on my website, LawrenceFreemanAfricanTheWorld.com. But in Nigeria's case, it's underperforming. And it's underperforming because of the lack of necessary infrastructure. And at this point, I'm not going on a limb or exaggerating to say that the most important thing for Nigeria to do, and I don't know what the commitment of the current government of President Tinubu is, we have to produce energy. The amount of energy that is available, accessible to over approximately 220 million Nigerians is criminal. I know it's a harsh word, but there's no energy. Even on a good day, you're only talking about 5,000 or so megawatts for a country of 200 billion, which if you average, divide by per capita, is minuscule. So the most important single driving force to build Nigeria to, as Patience said and others have said, to make Nigeria a leading country on the continent, which was expected to, going back even to the formation of the African Union. To do that, there is nothing more important than producing energy. And so we have to set that goal. We have to set the goal of food self-sufficiency. We have to continue, I think, the positive policy of President Buhari on railroad production, railroad transportation. And we have to begin, as Nigeria has, but it's too timid, we have to move into the field of nuclear energy. Nuclear fission energy is the best form of energy available to us right now before we reach fusion. And we have to accelerate the production of nuclear energy plants throughout Nigeria. So my advice to this group is we have to make 2024 a better year, not just hope for it, and make Nigeria a leading nation on the continent, which it should be. And if we move in that direction, then we'll have done some good in the world. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you for that thorough explanation of what you believe the best strategy for us to move forward. I love what you said. Make 2024 great. Put Nigeria in position. This is a year activity. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. You stopped a little earlier, but now we go before you and now.
Lost your voice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to present to you the Honorable Sade Joseph. She is the Directorate of the Diaspora and the International Affairs Office of the Senate Leader. We are honored to have you. Thank you for your time and your dedication to this hour. And we are curious to learn what you believe the best strategies, the best movement for global trends in sustainable businesses and partnerships for 2024.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here once again. So this is a really exciting topic. Speaking to, a very, what I would call the topic of the hour, the topic of the day, the most important topic or discourse for a brand new year 2024, given all that's happened in the previous year. So a sustainable business partnership, as I understand it, is a strategic and cooperative relationship that sort of like synthesizes, economic, environmental, social, and sustainability practices, and that speaks or seeks for long-term gains, emphasizing the shared values and responsible practices, and a commitment to creating positive impacts, in the world. And yeah, if I want to just get on to speak to what the Nigerian government position is in such a very important form of partnership. There are numerous interventions over the years that the Nigerian government had made for such to thrive. But before I go on to that, to look at the global trends, for example, and one key example that comes to my mind is the recently concluded COP28. It was just a force, like the whole world came together to hone on, as the last speaker said, the issue of energy. Energy, is really an important, topic today. It's a global issue, the need for sources of renewable energy, and because of all the implications, because when you talk about sustainable partnerships, it speaks to sustainability, it speaks to sustainable practices, and one at the core of that is social responsibility. It's not just about capitalism, making money. It's also about caring for the environment, the world, the planet, conservative principles, to conserve, the nature, and of course, energy is at the heart of this, and so the assemblage of world leaders and NGOs and key players, stakeholders at the COP28 summit was really incredible, and there was a lot of things that came out of that, actionable. There was a lot of commitment by world leaders, global leaders, to ensure, that there is cross-industry collaborations and, circular economy partnerships, climate action alliances. A lot of these came out of it. So that's one trend that I noticed, that the world is sort of coming together and accepting some of the pertinent issue of climate action, need for climate action, and the inevitable actions or consequences of failing to take adequate climate action. So sustainability as a guiding principle, it helps our leaders for decision making and planning across, sectors and businesses, and the rest of it. And to go into some of the things that our Nigerian governments are doing, for sustainable partnerships, then you have to look at some of the examples that we've had in the past, examples on such as initiatives like the National Policy on Public-Private Partnerships. The Nigerian government has had a national policy on public-private partnerships to promote such collaboration between the public and private sectors in various development projects. And we've also had what the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESREA Act, which is responsible for environmental protection and sustainable development in the country. So the act establishes the agency that, now sort of gives the legal framework for such environmental standards and regulations. And in Nigeria also, we have the Nigerian Sustainable Banking Principles by the CBN. The CBN issues this Nigerian Sustainable Banking Principle, which is which provides guidance to banks in integrating environmental and social considerations into their operations. So, and this, at the core of this, are business practices that are sustainable, corporate social responsibility, and financial inclusion. We also have the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA 2020. This includes provisions that promote corporate sustainability. It introduces changes to corporate governance and disclose, and it helps to regulate organizations of companies so that it sort of forces them to take a stance on, social and environmental, corporate social responsibility actions. What we can do, in addition to this, is similar to what was done in South Africa as a post-apartheid strategy, to bridge the divide between the haves and the have-nots. So they have in place, a particular something for Black empowerment, legislation to improve the well-being of, the underprivileged. So they made it to a law. So, and today, the impact of that as a best practice is that the corporate organizations in South Africa, they prioritize, they put a high price on, CSR, corporate social responsibility. And so, when we enact such laws, it helps, because it's taking it a step higher. Nigeria also has what it calls the Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan. This is a government initiative that helps to transform the industrial landscape in the country with policies that promote sustainable industrialization, and it encourages in the public and private sector partnerships that drives economic development. Nigeria also has, the Nigerian government also put in place the National Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy, NREEP, which outlines the Nigerian government's commitment to promoting renewable energy. And that is really key now. And we have others, the Consumer Protection Act, local content development and enforcement in the oil and gas industry. We have the National Quality Infrastructure Policy, which focuses on improving the quality of goods and services produced in Nigeria. So by emphasizing such quality standards, the policy contributes to sustainable business practices and partnerships, because it helps to promote products that meet international standards and market competitiveness. We also have the National Green Bond Program, which was introduced to finance environmentally sustainable projects. We also have sustainable agriculture initiatives. I can't emphasize this enough. In 2024, the government of Nigeria is really looking into the area of agriculture, investment in agriculture, ways to promote food production and end hunger. The growing population in Nigeria really offers that situation. Our leaders have no excuse whatsoever for not prioritizing agriculture, the development of that sector. But we have to, at the heart of it has to be sustainable practices. And what can help is a program by the government called the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending. So this is available for investors and even people within the country to access, funds.
Thank you.
So a number of actions, interventions by the government already that we can continue.
I appreciate you. Thank you. That was a very thorough explanation of what you believe is the best move. Thank you for letting us know about the industrial revolutionary plans and how we need to invest in agriculture and to help end hunger. That is great strategies. I hope you all are taking notes. We appreciate you, Honorable Sade. You will again speak after our speakers. You will have 3 minutes to summarize. And I would like to introduce next is Mr. Muhammad Ba. Mr. Muhammad Ba is the president of Litterment Inc. He is the member of Governor Westmore's Commission on African Affairs in Maryland in the USA. It is an honor to bring him before us. And we introduce, there you go, Mr. Ba. Welcome. Thank you for your time that you have given us today. We are honored to be before you. We don't take it lightly for all you panelists, the time that you give us. The information is thorough, it's great strategy. And I lend the mic to you, Mr. Ba. What are your thoughts on today's theme, Global Trends and Sustainable Business Partnerships in 2024?
Sure. Thank you very much. And I thank the organization NiDCC. I thank Patience for her stride to make sure that there's a collaboration within the African continent. I'm not Nigerian, I'm from Sierra Leone, but I can say I'm American now, but I've been here close to 30 years and have been particularly doing the same business for a very long time. And also, my time just ended at the commission, so I don't serve as a commissioner anymore. I'm focusing on my business to grow my business as a money transfer company in the fintech industry. As you guys have heard, I'm the president of Lead Remit Money Transfer company in the US. I've been around doing this business for quite a while. And we have gone through the ups and downs from the US Patriotic Act 2011 when there was a lot of, we know what happened in 2001 when they attacked in this country. And the financial sector was hit hard and there was a lot of regulation and compliance, which we are able to comply and stay in business. I would say a little bit more of what other project we are doing right now for the 2024, for you guys to know there's a possibility of collaboration. But I just want to go to like what my predecessor just said, Mr. Lawrence. We're talking about the bank and the financial industry, which I am in. In Africa, I think most of us know what the problems are in Africa. We have been discussing the problems and the solutions. But I think one day we will be able to penetrate and make sure some of these good ideas we are putting forward, the government will start to implement them. And I don't know why it cannot be implemented. It should be implemented. But the major obstacle to development has always been the infrastructural issue that has been the pediment of our industry, like as the speaker said about electric generation. Without electric generation, you cannot have manufacturing industries in Africa. That's one of the key issues. And also, as a diaspora matter, I believe strongly, the diaspora is the future of African development. Because Africa, people say it as a brain drain. People have been moving. Sorry, I got interrupted by a call. They say people have been moving from Africa to the US and other part of the world to learn. But I believe we are bringing back talent that will actually be able to contribute towards money remittances and also building industries. So what is missing in the diaspora is the collaboration between us here to make sure we create a fund that's going to attack some of these projects we're talking about, like electricity and all that. I believe if that, like the Nigerian diaspora come together, some of these projects they're talking about, I think we should be able to invest as a private entity, not as a government. But governments will actually pave the way for us to be able to do this kind of projects. But usually, most of us are scared. Our 401ks are settled. Our kids are going to school here. And we are scared that if you go over there, how can you raise the capital, even though your capital might not be enough? And if you raise the capital, how are you going to how much is the security of your capital if you invest it? We're talking about stability. But at the end, we still have to, we the Africans have to take the risk. And if we're talking about serious about African development, Africa should think about having their African Bank Reserve, not only the African Development Bank. African Development, I see it as like a lending agency, as a conduit lending agency for African businesses or African government. But Africans will have their own reserve, where we should be able to tap on our reserve and help the African continent. There is a lot of volatility in the foreign exchange because most of our currencies are tagged to foreign currencies like the euros or the pounds or mostly the US dollars. What do we need to do is because we don't have a manufacturing base, we almost import everything from other countries to Africa. How do we actually help to make sure that doesn't happen? We have to tackle the main infrastructural issues with the help of the government. As I say, one of them is electricity, communication, good roads, and also how can you be able to lend businesses in Africa? Lending in Africa, like the banks, it's very expensive to do business in Africa. The African banks actually can lend people for over 29%, or at times 22%, or at times 18%. If you started with an 18% loan, how are you going to be able to actually come out of that loan? It's not going to be possible to be coming out of that loan. For me, recently I started a very, very ambitious project. I think it's over ambitious, but I think it can be achievable. We have launched our money transfer. We are in 3 states right now. We recently launched in 35 states, but we withdrew, and we are launching in all the 50 states in the USA. But the next project we are launching is actually, we have our online gateway in Nigeria, where people will be able to move money in freely in within Nigeria or a part of Africa. And the next one we just launched, I call it our own Alibaba, our own Amazon. There's a lot of trade barriers between the West and Africa because we don't have the common goods. How you do move your goods from Africa to United States and from United States to Africa. We have learned that by end of this month, we should be able to achieve that platform. So a lot of people who want to move money, trade between the US and the Africa, you can use our platform. You can be in Nigeria and trade in America, or you be in America and trade in Nigeria. That's the ambitious platform we are launching very soon. I hope when we launch it, we will come back to this forum. I will introduce it to us. But it's beyond and it's actually it's a big, huge project, which me and my partners, not me, I don't want to credit myself. I have my partner who is Nigerian. His name is Akinolu Peter Akisowo. He's my brain. He's my brain. And we have some employees in Nigeria, in Ikeja, Lagos. And I hope by the time we have this investment conference in Lagos, we should be able to do some kind of presentation to see how we want to enhance people to do business, because enhancing is the key. Everybody talk about Amazon, they talk about the United States. And the other one is the logistics of delivering. And the thought, how are you going to be able to do business without being somebody trying to defraud you? Has been a big question. But I think like the Nigerian CBN is doing a lot in terms of in the banking sector, in the fintech industry. Nigeria has recently launched what we call the Afrigo. The Afrigo is like that year they are trying to avoid the Visa and MasterCard fees. So where Nigerians can have their own credit card and purchase with their own credit card, avoiding the 2-3% that will be charged by Visa or MasterCard. So that's the system we are plugged in. So for now, I think that will be my say, but I think we need to work on it. The African government and Africans and the African diaspora need to work on implementation. We need to start implementing some of these good ideas. We have been talking, but I think it's finally the time we, the Africans, need to come back together and try to see what we can implement, and let's collaborate. When my Nigerian partner met me, Aki, I have license, he didn't have license, he was working with the people, I was very scared to talk to him. It took me 1.5 years for me to agree to work with him. And finally, when I worked with him, I got to know a lot of Nigerians. And I think we badmouth ourselves too much in the African continent, thinking that, Nigerians is bad, this is bad. No, that's not true. There are bad people in every society, including the USA. Not only black people, not only Nigerians, not only Sierra Leoneans, but there are a lot of good people. I think there are more good people than bad people. But the little bad people make it look so bad that it actually stinks. If you go yourself, you try to invest, there is an opportunity out there. If you are honest and you have the capital and you have the will and you have to have the will to do an investment. So that will be my, I don't know if I'm 10 minutes, but even if I'm less, I will yield my rest of my minute to other speakers because I don't want to dominate the conversation. But that will be maybe I will wrap up on it when I'm giving the opportunity on the 3 minutes. Thank you very much for having us here. Mohammed, President of Lead Remit.
Thank you very, very much for your time and your explanation. I agree. I think we all agree that the diaspora is the future of development. And this is the year for us to implement. It's time to act and not talk. And that's why we're here gathering great leaders like yourself so that we can collaborate, strategize, and implement. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bott. I don't see, but I want to know, is Senator Shehu on the line? Is Senator Sani? Okay. All right. Next,
Yeah, and
we're
I
gonna
also want to, okay. I
go ahead,
also wanted
Maria.
to cut in to say that Mr. Dwight Hart from the Bahamas, sent a message. There's an emergency, and he's not able to join. Engineer Dr. Atenuka Owolabi is actually at the airport and about to board. Things were different, but something's changed, and of course he will be in the flight. Adem Irono, actually, she lives in the United States, but in an island, and she's not able to connect. She's been trying, and I've been trying to call. Same with Senator Sani. The last time he was in and out, but right now I don't see him in, and his call is not actually connecting. Ambassador Nkoyo sent a message because he's in between two Zooms. So I'm not sure whether he's done with the other Zoom. So he's going to be joining, but he said if we can call her last, Yeah, but I sent a message and I don't know if she has. So we can continue, if we have time for them when they come in, good. If not, let's continue with our discussion so we don't keep people waiting. Yeah. That's what I would say. Thank you. Yeah, for about two of them is the connection. Then all the two others, sent a message saying, uh, emergency with our brother from Bahamas and our sister engineer Atinuke is about boarding. Things changed regarding her flight, so she could not. Then the other two is connection. We're not able to connect with the senator and also them. Then again, Ambassador Nkoyo said she will be joining, but she's in between two Zooms. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
I'm
we have
actually here.
honorable.
I'm actually
Oh,
here.
okay. Oh, Ambassador Nkoyo. Thank you, ma. Yeah. So
great.
Ngozi, please.
Okay, great. So Ambassador is here, and that's great because I was going to call her name. We welcome you, we honor you, we thank you for your time in the midst of your busy schedule to make time to engage in such a very important discussion. And I introduce Ambassador. Is that Ambassador Noko Toyo? Yes, she is a
Yes.
former special advisor on sustainable development goals, Cross River State former House of Rep. We're honored to have you, and we'd like to know what you believe are the best strategies for the global trends in sustainable business partnerships in 2024. I'll lend the mic to you.
Thank you so much. I must say that I tend to work around, and sorry, I'm going to be off the video because that will help the quality of my connection. I hope you don't mind that.
Thank you.
I wanted to say that allow me to speak more specifically about Nigeria as a country and to speak more about what global trends out there would help us in this very difficult situation we find ourselves in. It's no news to all of us who come from this country that our currency, our economy, the livelihoods of many people have just nosedived in the last couple of months on account of the removal of subsidy, which means that what we need is not just the rebuilding of our country's economy and dealing with issues of growth. We actually do need to deal with issues of people who are actually suffering, and there's a lot of that happening right now because people's livelihoods have been cleaned out on account of the changes that have happened in the economy. And so in terms of the global direction of things and where global trends begin to touch on ground and reach with us is how do we build resilience and how do we bring in things that help us in terms of partnership that do not only look at the profit dimensions of what we're talking about, but begin to look at the non-profit dimensions more in terms of how do we build more sustainable businesses that deal with things like the social context of the country, which has pushed many young people into very many vices. A lot of that is beginning to tell on us. A lot of the insecurity we see is indirectly tied to abuses of all sorts of things like drugs and so on. So there is quite a bit of work to be done in looking at it. But on the other side, some businesses actually do better when they do have components of that business that try to address some of the what we call the pillars of sustainability, pillars like the social, pillars like the human, pillars like the economic, and pillars like the environmental. When you pull all of that together, you are conscious of the environmental sustainability issues. You are conscious of how do you make the economic partnerships you're trying to build more inclusive of the considerations of people who are hurting and people who have other prioritizations, small businesses, people who need access to all manner of things, particularly in agriculture and things like that, where you have the bulk of our citizens. So what I would say in effect is that for me, business is a business, and nothing says that business that pays attention to these types of things does not necessarily is not necessarily profitable. Question is, how do we begin to build those kinds of businesses and make them profitable? Not profitable just in terms of what we get immediately, but profitable in terms of what is sustainable. When you have businesses that last for 10, 20, 30 years, ultimately you'll make the profit that you're talking about. But in the short term, you may not make the kind of profit you're looking up to do. So the partnership should be partnerships that begin to ask the question that beyond the profit dimensions or the profit imperatives that make people want to invest in one country or the other, what are the kinds of other things that we can do, which in inverted commas still bring in profit, but actually have a way of dealing with the local context. Because if the context is not a little bit more secured, and I'm not talking of security in terms of hardware or anything, I'm talking of security in terms of just human security. If you don't have issues of people's safety and things like that being addressed, people are hungry and all of that, then whatever kinds of businesses you come up with in the end, you end up being a victim to those things that are actually eroding the confidence which the citizens themselves have in the businesses you bring, and which you yourselves as foreign investors in our country have in us. These are turbulent times for us. Not turbulent in any sense of the earthquakes that we have seen, but turbulent in terms of people not just being sure of how to rebuild. How do you rebuild back and rebuild better and rebuild in ways that are more enduring and more resilient? This business of resilience is a big one. People who are not sure of what they would be doing next, that will help them in making their livelihoods sustainable in the long term. So my point, therefore, is to say that partnerships must begin to take into account some of these considerations. The last 6 months has been harrowing for us in this country. We've been thrown completely out of our whatever held us together. The subsidies were a big problem, but it also held the economy together in some ways for the ordinary people. But today, without the subsidies, it seems that everything is falling apart, and building back is a huge concern and consideration which we need to take back. So for those of you in the diaspora, and particularly diasporans who are linked in some ways to Nigeria and who are able to leverage on the more ethical end of business and what their ethical business interests are, there are many kinds of businesses that are looking to do that kind of work. And I've found people who said, look, we want to do renewables, we want to do work around sustainable exploration of mineral resources. That's the big thing happening now. A lot of artisan miners are just going around digging up things and leaving the places in very unsustainable ways. There is the possibility of people coming in to do those types of things with a much more long-term objective in mind, providing jobs for the local people and also creating livelihoods that are more sustainable. So let me stop here because I don't know what the conversation was before now, but I would like to say that my point is that we must look at what is it about business? What is it we are trying to build? What is it about our environment and allows us to do the things we want to do for business purposes at the same time for the good of the people of the country? That would be my own way of looking at how businesses of the future and the trends which we want to talk. And I think climate is a huge part of it, but not the only part of it. But climate and environment is a huge part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your thorough explanation. Although you came in, you were right on time with what you believe is the best strategy. I love what you said about the resilient. You know, we need to rebuild enduring and we need resilience. But human security is the main issue. And the information you provided just added value to other great strategies that the panelists have shared, and we appreciate it. I'm going to lend the mic back to Honorable Patience Aditi Key. And I just want to make sure that we have all speakers that are present on board. I think that is everyone for today, outside of those of us who were had technical issues. So I believe we had all great speakers. We had Mr. Freeman, Honorable Sade Joseph, Mr. Mohammed Ba, and Ambassador Noko. Sound. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you can go ahead and call back your our panelists for
Yes, for the 3 minute.
the 3 minutes, and if as we begin the discussion we have the time, any other person that comes fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the other two are still having connection issues.
Okay, great. Well, we thank you again for your time, and we're gonna circle back around to the beginning speaker, and that's Mr. Lawrence Freeman. And in this 3 minute round, please tell the audience and those of us in attendance how to reach you, your website, your social media site, and the best way to connect with you. And within your 3 minute summary, please provide again contact information. And then after the 3 minutes, we will engage in question and answer. Take it away, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you. The previous speaker touched on very critical issues, which is the maintenance of the quality of life, the standard of living of the people of Nigeria, and that it has taken a very serious downward turn through devaluation of the Naira and other means. And this touches on something that's very important to me and is actually the kernel of my entire political economic thinking, which is that human beings have a unique capability, which is called creative reason, or some people would call it creative imagination or creative mentation. But this essentially identifies that only human beings, no animal, no machine, no computer, can actually make new discoveries, or as Plato would say, new hypotheses about the universe. And through those discoveries of principle, those scientific discoveries, transform that into new technologies, which are transformative for our mode of economic production. That's how civilization has made progress over millions of years, but in particular, over the recent 15, 20,000 years. We make discoveries which lead to new scientific capabilities and new technologies. Now, why is this so important? This governs all my thinking, which is this is the only means for human civilization, for humanity to progress. We change our resources. We move from one set of resources to another. We change the universe around us. And only human beings can do this. And human beings, therefore, are actually the true source of economic value. Not oil, gold, or what's under the ground. It's the value, economic value comes from the mind of people. And therefore, we have to have a policy that promotes the development of the human being. So this is a twofold policy. One is we must have the material standard of living for families to grow and raise their children, to have a house, to have separate rooms for the children, to have electricity 24/7, so that those young minds can grow and be developed. And this also means it's the only way to have democracy. True democracy requires an educated citizenry, where citizens debate and discuss the policy of their country for the future years ahead. So this is one aspect of what we must do as governments, as leaders. But this then provides the basis for developing the mind, having an educational, scientific culture that develops the creativity of the mind of our children who are properly taken care of and fed. And these are the kinds of programs that I've involved myself in. The other program is, which was referred to an earlier speaker, is I've been working with some Africans to develop an infrastructure development bank, which is a bank that would only lend credits, long-term, low-interest credits, not 18%, but 2 to 3% for infrastructure projects. And this is something I've advocated and is also on my website. So people can read and follow me at Lawrence Freeman, AfricaInTheWorld.com is my website. And my Twitter handle is L Freeman's Africa, at L Freeman's Africa.
Thank you.
Those are the best means to contact and follow my work.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. We have 3 minutes, and I appreciate everyone's time. Our time is precious. So during this 3 minutes, please don't be taken by telling us where to locate you. We're more concerned about your final thoughts. We are connected to the chambers, so those of us who want to get in contact, we can circle back to the chambers. But please go ahead and use the 3 minutes to give us your final spill on what you believe is a final summary. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. I appreciate you, your information, and it was a pleasure to hear your thoughts and strategies.
Thank you.
Now, Honorable Sade, please go ahead and give us a 3-minute summary of you and recap of what you spoke about earlier. And again, we can reach you through the chamber, so you don't have to worry about that part. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. In line with what the other speakers have said, and also as in conclusion to this to my submission in this topic, I think it's high time that our nation or governments of the world did something really critical. Because right now, with all that is going on in the world, it's really a very the happenings of the previous year, I hope will be curbed. The negative happenings, occurrences will be curbed in 2024. I'm really optimistic about this year, but I think there should be more action-driven strategies. In the area of peace and security, for example, we are teetering on the edge in Nigeria, and without peace and security, there's very little development that can happen. Also, a pertinent issue is the Japa syndrome. This mass migration of Nigerians outside the country. It's no longer for educational purposes only, or for the needs, maybe just to live in another part of the world. But people are basically living now because of the economic situation, the needs, the lack of basic life. If you know the Maslow's the list of priorities, Nigerians are living now for basic things like hunger, food, things that so it's really serious. And we need to pay attention to this. People are leaving just because they can't feed their kids, they can't pay their school fees. You know, such things is driving people out of the country. And any nation where that is happening need to really pay attention so it will not be termed a failing state. We also need initiatives to really help our youth to be gainfully employed. Right now, there's just not that. There isn't enough coming in as income. So it's really difficult. And so I'm looking for such transformative actions and policies that will drive, solutions in this area. That's my dream for Nigeria, and that's what I'm hoping to be part of implementing in the coming year.
Thank you. Honorable Sade. We appreciate you all. This is one of the reasons why you want to become a member of the Chambers. We are connecting with like-minded leaders across the globe. And when we come together and collaborate for the common cause, the work is greater and more effective. So thank you, Sade. And we'd now like to, Mr. Mohammed Ba, your final 3-minute recap of what you believe is the best strategies and the summary of.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, as I have been saying, in America here, we are not short of people who have capital who want to invest in Africa. There's a lot of people who want to invest in Africa. At times, the roadmap to investment can be a little bit cloudy. And a lot of people, as for example, I have a company that does biomass energy in America here. It's in North Carolina. It's my friend. We have presented our project like to 2 other countries. But most people, when you go there, the first thing they ask you for, we have not made a dime yet. Where is my own part, or how much percentage of your company can I own? That's like a big obstacle in terms of encouraging people. There are a lot of people who want to invest there. And also, when you get down there, usually we are seeking money maybe from Exim Bank or is that the AFTC? It used to be OPIC to get these funds, or USAID. But for you to get those kind of funds, the government or the Exim Bank need to know before they guarantee you that the money you will be able to pay the money back when you take these monies, and you will have some percentage invested in the business. Well, most of the times people think you are a billionaire, you are just taking money and coming to invest in that country. It's very difficult to navigate those, but there's a lot of people who want to actually make a difference in those countries from the diaspora. And even I think, and my last part will be the diaspora need to create a fund, whether in the US or in Nigeria, where through the remittances, if it is percentage of the remittances you put aside, so we can use it like buying a share of an investment in the African economies. So we can free our economics from people who want to just come and make money and repatriate, which is not wrong with that. If those are the only people available, we need them. But we can be part of that share too. Make sure that you are a local person. When you invest in Nigeria, you want to actually get your money and reinvest in Nigeria and employ more people. So moving forward in Africa, in Nigeria and in Sierra Leone, I think with the youth population, with technology, advancement in technology, I believe I'm very, very hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful that changes are coming very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ba. We always appreciate your input and your insight. And thank you all for honoring your time and being so thorough and concise. And last but not least, we have Ambassador Nokoyo Toyo. And after her 3-minute summary, we will then open the audience up to questions and answer. Thank you.
So thank you so much. I think I'll take my cue from the last speaker, Mohammed Ba, where he says, talks about the impediments, the problems of coming to do investments in Africa, particularly the issue which he hasn't quite mentioned, which is corruption. The good thing about having a body like the chambers is that the chambers is not about an individual or individual business. It's about a conglomerate of businesses, and it can use its weight and its accesses to insist on certain standards and to begin to force the country into a certain way of doing business. It's been done in the past, where the development partners used to come into the country with a lot of money, but they used to come in with grants, and they could use grants to do what we traditionally call conditionalities. I guess that what I'm saying is that this platform of the chambers can begin to look at how it can be the conduit through which this standardization. If you want to create a partnership with any business coming in from the diaspora, there must be a way of giving us a template which we can, you can as a chamber, drive through the system and make sure that the system is listening. It may not be perfect at the beginning, but with time it will. But I also want to say that there are areas of our economy, at least the Nigerian economy, that provides us with great opportunity. Listening to Lawrence and the question of innovation, the whole industry around the creative industry, the music, the entertainment and all of that, huge opportunities there. And I think that a partnership like that will definitely raise new profiles for us, give us the kind of resources which could go into the fund that Mohammed Ba is talking about. And with that kind of resource and that kind of fund, we can become our own mini IMFs and whatever it is that we want to create, which are also supporting the continent in different ways to ensure that credit is available to them. These guys in the entertainment industry from Nigeria are making huge amounts of money, and nobody's helping to think with them. They're very young, very inexperienced in terms of business, how those monies they are making can be reinvested into other businesses. Let me stop there and hopefully hope that we can look at both the positive and the problematic, which is corruption, and how we can deal with both at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you very much. And I agree with you. Afrobeats is becoming mainstream in the Western culture, and they are making a lot of money. How can we redirect them and give them guidance on how to reinvest their funds back into the continent, Nigeria? Thank you very much. We now are going to usher into our question and answer. Please, if you are a member and you do have a question, just please raise your hand by using the icon. And Honorable Patience Aditi Key, she will recognize your hand, and we will acknowledge.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, I'm Engineer James Abutu Onoja. I'm from Port Harcourt, and I'm into business. We are into business in terms of live business. We produce honey and tea, herbal tea, and we produce natural honey. And these are things that we used to produce directly from within Nigeria. And of course, you all know it's Nigeria and in Port Harcourt here. We go to this area that we produce these things. But the fact remains that even the exports that are to move out, a lot of people that want to have it, but we need fund. We need fund that we can pay. We need fund that we're able to carry this business, to be able to export our items out. If there's any way you can make, even those who want within, even if it's not outside Nigeria, let it be within Africa. They can do, make sure Africans have this product. We are natural things that people need to organize themselves. So all we need is fund to do this business, to see how things can be positive for us. Thank you.
Thank you, James. We appreciate your feedback and your input. Thank you very much. Does anybody want to respond to James before we acknowledge the SOLA? Thank you very much. The SOLA has a question. Please unmute and go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. And I appreciate everybody that came to this program today. It's really educating. I gained so much. My first question goes to Honorable Shade. Talking about agriculture in Nigeria, it gives me a lot of concern because we have this mass land in that country, and food is the main basket of any nation. And when food is missing, anyone can go crumble. The economy will go down. So what is the efforts of government if they have a department that want to take care of agriculture in Nigeria? Is that a way that people are aware of the fund that is available for agriculture in Nigeria? Because most of the time when government have a good project they want to put out there, and lots of people are blind. They are deaf about the information. That's my question to Ms. Honorable Shade. And to Mr. Mohamed Ba, talking about electricity, I'm from Nigeria and I can talk about my own country. I know the problem we have in Nigeria mostly is electricity. There's no supply of electricity. And when that one is missing, a whole lot of business will go down. We can see that a whole lot of companies in Nigeria, they're relocating outside Nigeria. I can mention maybe a few of them. Nigerian breweries, they're no more in Nigeria. I grew up to know them. They're everywhere in Nigeria. They're no more there. Let me just stop there. So how do we generate electricity to help? Because like low, the low business people, like you have your store, you're an hairdresser, or maybe you have a barber shop and there's no light, there's no electricity to run your business. How do we combat that? We've talked about it. The government is not listening because it's the government that controls major of these things. Are we looking at shifting to solar energy by generating that? How do we move forward when it comes to electricity? And when it comes to Ms. Ikoyo, well, we know the only business that is thriving right now is music industry and movie industry, which they're really, really growing, and they're giving Nigeria a top up all over the world. Like the music they played yesterday in Texas was one of our boys, to launch into 2014. They're doing great and they're making our country proud. Investing back their money in a good way, how do people reach them? Who is going to talk to them? We cannot say probably they have their investment outside Nigeria, be what Nigeria economy is. We don't know, maybe they have their investment back in another country. How do we develop our country? Would they bring the money they're making right now to our country to develop Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who's going to take that question first? All right, go ahead, Mr. Freeman.
Well, I'll take the question on electricity. So yes, this is the most devastating lack. The lack of electricity is devastating Nigeria's economy. For many years, decades, I believe there was a conscious policy not to develop functioning oil refineries. There were 4 refineries, and they never worked at optimal capacity. Now there's a brand new refinery that was built. So we have a 2-step process. One is we should be burning, and I know some of the environmentalists don't agree with me on this, we should be burning as much oil and gas as necessary to provide electricity for the citizens of Nigeria. The lack of energy is killing people today, not next week, next year. Today, people die every day because there's not electricity, because there's not food, there's not production, there's not hospitals, there's not schools, these require electricity. So coal and gas should be utilized to the fullest. It's a right of a nation, a sovereign nation, to use its resources. Solar energy is very limited, maybe household use, cell phones, light bulbs, but solar power is not capable of powering an economy. It's not strong enough form, as we call it, energy flux density. We have to use hydroelectric power as a new hydro dam being built in northern Nigeria, but that's only 3,000 megawatts. That's not enough. We have to move towards nuclear energy as rapidly as possible. Small modular nuclear reactors are 200 to 400 megawatts. Larger ones are 1,000 megawatts. These can be, the smaller ones can be built and shipped and plugged into the electricity grid as quickly, very quickly. We have to demand full access to on-grid electricity so that people in Nigeria can do the same thing most of us on this phone, this Zoom can do, which is turn on a switch and you have electricity 24/7. So we have to move from 5,000 to 7,000 megawatts, which Nigeria has, to well over 100,000 megawatts. My estimate is the continent needs about 1,000 gigawatts, which is much bigger than a megawatt. So we have to have ambitious, we have to have a military-like determination to get electricity to the people, to the businesses. You're absolutely right. When I go to Abuja and elsewhere, you hear the hum of private generators at night, which are more expensive than the electricity we're paying here. So the generators at the private level don't really work and they're very cost prohibitive. So access to on-grid electricity is our goal, and we have to force this through with full determination.
Yeah, if I can go to, this is Demola from Texas. This is Mohammed. Hello.
Hello,
Can you guys
sir.
hear me?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually from Maryland here.
Okay, okay, I'm in Maryland too. I'm in Maryland too. So, yeah, thank you. Okay, as what I was, somebody was asking about funding for tea and tea production and honey from, I think, from Port Harcourt. What I advise, you start your business small, you scale it, you go to your local bank, make sure your books are okay, improve a concept to make sure that somebody in your community will start to help you. Then you guys can move it to outside. Usually people don't want to help startups. I have an idea, I want to go startup. That's my advice. But if you want to export outside, when our link come on, you can connect it to our link and ship directly to the US from Nigeria. And I will be happily, I put my website on. I have a contact in Nigeria there, who is in Abuja right now. I have another contact in Lagos, in Ikeja. Also, the lady asking for electricity. As I'm talking to you right now, a business might be born out of this conference. As I told you, I have a friend who is very big on biomass energy that can actually clean the city and convert it into energy. And he can do like 5 megawatts, which most of our local towns and in Nigeria needs. Maybe you don't need like a bigger megawatt because they just need electricity to run in their villages. The guy is there, he want to come to Nigeria and bring the energy, but the funds need to be sourced. When the fund need to be sourced, the government has to be involved. Government has to do what we call a power purchase agreement. I don't know if it's going to be a state government or a local government or a federal government, but there should be some form of people need the money to be paid back. And he don't have the money, but he has the ideas. He has been working in Burundi. He is working in Senegal. I think he told me about Nigeria, but I'm not sure. I will ask him. But if there is somebody talk about it. Somebody was speaking about NIP. I mean, the chamber that actually knows where to go and how to get to those people. So in America, we are so confused. We are so busy. We don't have the time to get confused. Because when you go there, you have to go through this, and I have to leave my job. You know what? Let me do this. Let me make my money here. So the project is out there, and he will employ thousands of youths because they have to. He can use wood chips. He can use cow dung. He can use grass to furnish electricity, and he can also produce diesel and ethanol with his same products. Very classic. So those are the kind of things that I know I can lead you guys to say, okay, there's a project here, we can do it and help Nigeria. This is what I was talking about in my closing remark, that we have been speaking. Let's find a way to implement some of our good ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your response. It is now 3:01, and this discussion has been very, very lucrative, very informative. And if you're on the line, I truly encourage you to become a part of the Nigerian and the diaspora chambers, where you can connect with like-minded leaders and also contribute great value by becoming a member. You can find us everywhere on social media at NID Chambers, chamber without the S. That is on social media at Instagram, Facebook. That's NID Chamber, Instagram, NID Chamber, NID Chamber, and LinkedIn. Please follow us. Please connect. And go ahead and become a member at the top of the year so you can benefit from such an amazing year ahead. We're excited about our launch in Lagos coming in March 28th, 29th, and the 30th. Please stay tuned. Connect with us so that you can stay in the know the entire year. We appreciate all our panelists and all the amazing information that was shared today. This entire meeting is streamed live. If you missed anything, you can go follow us on LinkedIn, at Instagram, and/or Facebook, and you can find the recording there. The information shared was thorough, and we appreciate your time. I now pass the mic back to Honorable Patience Ididi Key, President of the Nigeria and the Diaspora Chambers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ngozi. Thank you for moderating. Thank you. That was really wonderful. I don't know if you asked if we still have any one or two more questions or contributions, or making sure that the answers. I think Madam Desola asked specific, or maybe those people already answered. Yeah. So what I hear as we discussed this today, what I hear is, yes, collaboration is very important. Partnership is very important, but we have challenges. We have challenges in terms of electricity. We have challenges in terms of, we want to do business, some bureaucracy. This one is saying, oh, you have to give me this before this is done. We have, kind of challenges in terms of entrance into different communities or different nations, even within the nation, like Ambassador Nkoyo gave an example. We have the challenge of even the individuals, whether you're in business or not. We have the issue with the policies, the plans, the strategies that is being taken by the government. And this also, we know, transcends to other community and all that. And yeah, of course, for the chamber, one of the things we want to actively do this year is, strengthen our ties with policymakers, not only in Nigeria, in the United States, wherever, we have a NiDCC, not just only to benefit our businesses, but to also benefit businesses, in these different areas. We need to do this ahead of for regulatory changes, and also involve in advocacy efforts. So this year, we're going to start strong on this. And as soon as this begins to happen, we'll let us know. Even before our launch, of course, a lot of things will be taken care of, because now we have started to meet in this new year, and we're thinking collaboration, we're thinking partnership. I'm sure every one of us wants to do that, but we have some challenges. We have some things that are stopping us from having effective collaboration, sustainable collaboration. We want something that is sustainable. We're talking about electricity. So even having to meet our brother who is in renewable energy or who has ideas on how to do this. If the government, the Nigerian government have the wherewithal, the Ghanaian government have this, the American, of course, there's no light problem here, so let's not call America. Any other government, maybe in a part of developing world, well, let's use Nigeria, for example, because Nigeria, as big as Nigeria is, we actually give power to surrounding community, but for us, we do not have that power. That is the very something it's mind-boggling. So I think in terms of Nigeria, we need to begin to talk to the government. We need to begin to, who are those that have the license to power our communities? Who are those that you have given the contract? Because we used to have NEPA. NEPA was a government institution, and another government decided needing to privatize electricity. And now that it's privatized, the name changed, but the situation has not changed. The situation has only gotten worse. In 2020, I had opportunity of being in Ibadan. I was invited by an organization to help put some structure around the organization and the businesses. And we had a 1 week workshop in Oshogbo. I never knew then that Oshogbo, was the powerhouse of Nigeria. So after the meeting, after the workshop for the 1 week long, we decided to just have a sightseeing, go around Oshogbo, being my first time also, in Oshogbo. And I was told about NEPA, and I was really interested. I really want to see NEPA. And we had one of the top officials who showed us the cables and all that. So the guy actually said that Nigeria has no problem with giving light, with giving electricity to everyone, every community, every state. The supply is there, but the distribution has become a big problem. And this top official named several African countries that Nigeria actually gives power. Why? Because these people come with their money, purchase, and are able to, send to their people, power their nations, power their communities, and all that. So the big thing about Nigeria is not that we don't have the capacity, but the people we have given the license, the people we have given the go-ahead to get the supply and distribute to our communities are actually not doing it. So that is the big problem we are having. And this is going to be a discussion by the Chamber of Commerce collaborating with the government, talking, we'll continue to talk like our Honorable Ambassador Nkoyo said. Yes, we might not have 100% results, but as we continue to get at it, as we continue to advocate, as we continue to send in those papers, as we continue to talk about this, somehow, one day, sometime, something we give way and all that, as we continue to do it, because we want to advocate for sustainability. We want to advocate not just for only business, because whatever we do, we affect individuals, it will affect businesses, and we want a positive effect on this on this matter. And of course, we are working with already working with people who are who are lawmakers, both past lawmakers, both those who are present, and even those who are working with who are working in their offices, who are officiating for them and giving advice, and also bringing in questions or complaints from other people when they go out. Like one of them is our dear sister Honorable Shade. Of course, she will take this back, and I'm going to work together to put articles together, put papers together, advocate for this our community in terms of energy. Energy is everything. When we don't have lights, there's no way we can do storage. There's no way we can. Electricity affects everything. So yes, like I said, one of the things we're going to actively do is strengthening the ties by advocating, by reaching out reaching out and reminding and making sure, and any other community that is affected by power or whatever it is, just let us know. We have a way of reaching out to any government. In America, you have all the embassies of nations. In Nigeria, you have the same. So at least we have ties with these, and we know with the collaboration we have with other communities in Europe, in North America, other parts of Africa, we'll be able to do our own part to make sure, individuals, get a better 2024, our businesses, experience a better 2024 the way they want to experience it on a positive note. So that's what I will say. And again, thank you so much for taking our time to join us this first meeting in this new and exciting year, 2024. Thank you to our panelists, Ambassador Nkoyo. We do not take your participation, your collaboration, your ideas, your everything. We don't take it for granted. Honorable Shade, we thank you for your love. We thank you for always wanting to give back. We do not take your coming on board with us for granted. Mr. Lawrence has been a friend. He's been a friend of Nigeria and Africa way before we met him, and has continued, to do the same, and always powered and always willing to be a part of what brings light to Africa. He's a Jewish American, but his thought, his ideas, his life, everything for him is how Africa can be better, because he has come to know and understand the quality that Africa has. Our brother, Mr. Ba, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful relationship, and we do not take your ideas and all that you bring on board for granted. Thank you so very much. Honorable moderator, thank you so very much. That was really wonderful. And our great participants, thank you. So today we have come to the end of this meeting, and we are going to be sending out messages, our events, our launch. Of course, before the launch, we're still going to continue our 2 weeks, 3 weeks, meeting, virtual meeting. So you will hear more from us. Launch is going to be in March 28th, 29th, and 30th at Lekki Coliseum in Lagos State, Nigeria. And we've been talking to investors, we've been talking to those who want to come. So, give us ideas. We're not an island. Give us ideas. Bring in investors. Are you one of the investors? What do you want to see in Nigeria, in Africa? What do you want to see in the United States? We're going to be matchmaking, and it's also going to be streamed around the world. But it's going to be more fun when we see you in person from all walks of life. So thank you again for coming, and we'll end it. And our brother who wants funding, yes, I like the answer from Mr. Ba. Start from wherever you can start from. Start small and just continue to scale up. Right now, not just only in Nigeria, even in America, everybody needs money to start a business, or to also upgrade the ones that they've already started. And right now, we're not giving funding. We're not, whenever we are, and when we have that resources to be able to do that, definitely, we'll be able to let our audience get to know that, and we'll move. Well, it's still going to be on eligibility, so we don't spend people's money unwisely. So thank you, and thank you, and thank you again. God bless.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madam Desla.